The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hadeen, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We are here to talk with flooring professionals from all across the country about the issues that matter to you. I want to encourage you to learn while you earn. This week's guest is Mike Somodean. Mike owns and operates MSCS Inc. in North Atlanta, Georgia. After immigrating from Romania and not returning when his work visa expired, Mike has been able to build the American dream through becoming a hardwood sand and finish craftsman. After years of running his business, getting more involved with the industry and learning business principles finally made sense to him. Where that has taken him in a short time has led to great growth and a few problems along the way. Listen in to see how Mike has solved his issues and what the number one key to his success has been. Mike Somodean, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. Thank you for joining us.
It's an honor to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, well, I'm honored that you think it's an honor because I don't even know that I deserve anything in this flooring community that I've joined. So, man.
Allow me to contradict you. I think there's a lot of value in what you're doing, and getting in touch with all these people that are willing to share information. I think there's a lot to be taken out of it. But just like everything else, the information is out there, the help is out there. It's all a matter of what you do with it. So.
That's it. You can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. So we're gonna put it out there. What everybody does with it is up to them. That's the point. I want everybody to learn while they earn, but I can't make you do it.
Exactly.
So let's hear your story. How did you find your way into the flooring world? Or, I know you're a sand and finish guy. So how did you find sand and finish work and get to where you are now? You have your own business. You have subcontractors. I assume you probably have an apprentice or a helper with you, and you're not doing everything on your own. But
yes, that's
okay.
correct.
So, let's hear that.
I've been through different stages. Anyway, I'm originally from Romania. I came to the United States in 2003 on a work and travel visa. I was cleaning beaches in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and Ocean City, New Jersey, as my contract. And then once that expired, I had a phone number for a guy in Atlanta that happened to be doing hardwood floors. So you can pretty much say that I kind of face planted into flooring,
okay,
if you will.
Yeah.
And then worked with that guy a little bit, and then some other guy that's originally from my hometown, took me to work, paid me by the day. The impressive $80 a day American dream, if you will. And that was probably the toughest period of my of my career, because I was being held down. Just he wanted to keep me as a gopher, not letting me learn anything. So
Okay.
I was 22 at the time, fresh, naive, and everybody supposedly was my friend. So there were a lot of lessons to be learned from that. Fast forward, I actually teamed up with a good friend at the time. We bought our own van, installed tools, and we started to subcontract from other people. That lasted until 2006, and since 2006 I've been on my own. as a standalone business. Obviously, hard in the beginning, subbing out from other people, getting paid donuts to actually quote one of them who was subbing. I remember I used to ask for better prices, and he's like, "My friend, you're not gonna get rich working with me. You're gonna have enough money for donuts." He actually said that to me. So
Wow.
right now it's funny. Back then it wasn't.
No, yeah,
So
no, I get that. That's bad.
yeah. So then the market crash came. 2007, 2008, 9.
Mm-hmm.
Those were hard times, but I pulled through. And then 2009, I kind of started getting serious about, okay, I need to turn this around. What do I do? And started, looking into marketing at the time, website. Actually built my first website in Dreamweaver, Flash. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do have a, information technology background from back in Romania, so
Okay.
that made it easy. Little by little, that started to work. Started getting my own clients. Always tried to do good, to be better than I was yesterday. Invested in tools, and started to build a good reputation that would, between the marketing that I was doing and I was good at, I was probably a step ahead of most. I started doing better and better. And then I moved after 10 years in the same place. I moved to a better part of town. And once I started my my marketing to be targeted to this area, that's when everything kind of changed.
Okay.
Took it to the next level. So that's how I got into it and how I progressed. And then I can say that education, involvement with NWFA and all the leading brands, meeting people and all of that was the big game changer for me. And that started 2016, 17.
So that's very recent.
Yes, actually, yes. I know a lot of people. I feel like I've known a lot of them for a long time, but it's actually only been like 3 years since I really got involved with everything that means, education, industry, overall.
It's funny what happens when you go and hang out with a bunch of like-minded individuals that want to compete at the top of a market instead of just be involved in an industry.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the one thing they all have in common, after all, I think they want to get better. They actually do want to push the industry forward to, it can go both ways, because everybody, when they start, it's difficult. It's a difficult trade,
Yeah.
It's taxing mentally, physically, and, and then once you start to get on your own 2 feet, you kind of have a choice, Are you gonna help the ones coming in or that are under you? Are you gonna help them not have that bad of a time that you had, or you're gonna be like, yeah, well, if I did, they should too? Yeah.
You're gonna make them work for donuts.
Exactly.
And that guy's an a-hole. I don't know who he is. He's an a-hole.
Yeah, no, is one of many, unfortunately.
Correct. No, I'm one of the guys that look. I'll tell you exactly how to do it. I'll tell my client how to install the floor. I don't care. If you want to save a buck,
just
man,
make sure,
that's
make sure
good
you
on
take a video. Make sure you take a video of them doing
Yeah.
that.
No, I think education is key. Why shouldn't it be easier for you than the next guy? Let's take this back a little bit. Okay, so you're from Romania. You were roughly, you said about 22 when you came over?
Yes, I was born in 81, so I came over in 2003.
Okay. I mean, you're technically living the American dream, which nobody
Yes.
thinks exists anymore. Okay, so you came here and you were doing basically. I'm sure the cleaning gig in Atlantic City, Ocean City, didn't pay squat, and it was like rice and beans for dinner.
So that was a work contract for 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and my visa approval was dependent on that.
Okay.
You know, once that contract ended, I was supposed to actually go back. So instead of doing that, I didn't.
No,
And
really.
yes, so to all those in the industry, yeah, I'm one of those illegal immigrants that steals your jobs.
Well,
Or
yeah.
was.
Okay.
I'm a very proud citizen, and I have been for several years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
No, I mean, it takes hard work. And I think that's something that stands out to me in and of itself, because Americans want to sit here and complain that the system's rigged and you can't get ahead and you can't do it. And yet you are one of many immigrants I have talked to that somehow you made it work. So
Yep.
apparently the American
And
dream exists. Americans are just lazy.
um, who am I to judge?
I'll say it.
But
Americans are
yeah,
lazy.
I'm probably one of the most classical examples. I did come to the U.S. with a one-way plane ticket and $300 in my pocket, along with one bag.
That's awesome.
So,
Congratulations, man.
you know,
That's very, very cool.
thank you.
Okay, and it's not for lack of hard work. I think that's the key to any of this. You know, growing your business, growing your company, learning how to run the business. You can't just be good at the trade. There's so much more that goes into everything, and you've gone and put in that work to make it happen. You know, you wouldn't be where you're at without doing it. You know, I'm sure you were having to take night classes and find ways to do the immigration process along with running the company the whole time. So it's not like there's a lack of effort anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You can be really good at trade, and that's gonna take you all the way to a certain point. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can be the best spinner or the best hammer swinger in the West or in the East. But then when it comes to actually growing the business and not being, dependent on having work every single day, then you get into the other aspects of the business and you got to start wearing the other million different types of hats
Mm-hmm.
of being a business owner, you know. And that's probably where, unfortunately, a lot of very, very good craftsmen fail. And depending on
Yeah.
the support they get or the motivation they have, they might actually, drop out, quit. So,
Yeah.
and, you know, it's not every single floor man has to become a businessman,
Correct.
because then we would all be business owners and nobody would actually be on the floor working.
Yep.
You know,
No,
there's
I couldn't agree more.
absolutely no issue whatsoever with loving your job and being, self-sufficient as an employee, or, you can still take the same pride in what you do. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Look, some guys get into the trade and they realize they've got a better business mind. Some guys get into the trade and they're really good at the skilled labor part. And so you need worker
Yeah.
bees and you need business owners, and I think a lot of guys get caught up thinking they're getting screwed, and they are, because there's a lot of bad business owners.
Yeah.
If we were to like sort through who was running successful, profitable companies and could afford to pay more, and guys that probably shouldn't be doing it, and we kind of like played like NBA draft or NFL draft style, you could probably make some really great companies.
Yes, that's true. I've I've always been the type of person that's of the mindset, use the best tool for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, that applies to tools, but also to people. So I'm not going to use a super good installer by sending him to sand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So same thing with the business. If you're a very good business person, would I keep you on the floor? Probably not, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would try to use your best qualities to serve that purpose, you know, gear you as a employee or part of the business to help the business by using your, you know, putting your best foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're good at. That's what we're going to exploit, if you will.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, heck, if you've got an apprentice around learning how to install and sand and finish, and you notice he's really good with schmoozing the clients all the time, maybe he's got a sales career ahead of him. You know,
exactly.
get him in there, let him train, help him, have him come out on some bids, see what he can do.
Yeah, and you know, unfortunately, you know, there has been for a while a shortage of people in the industry coming into the industry, and everybody's complaining, you know, about labor this, labor that. But what I've noticed is everybody's complaining about labor, the labor part.
Yes.
Now, why? Did you think about that? Is it because everybody who was doing the labor kind of migrated into other aspects of the business, or they became business people and now they need somebody to do the labor?
I think it's some of that. I think it's some that the businesses have been run poorly for a long time, and flooring is not a respected trade anymore. And
Yeah, and
I think
that's partially our fault too.
yeah, oh, definitely. Between the stores and the installers themselves, there's a huge part to take on that. But
Well, you know, if you think about that, flooring is super easy. I mean, all the ads for Home Depot and Lowe's, it's a DIY project, right?
if it's click, sure. Sand and finish is
Yeah.
not a DIY project.
What do you mean? You can rent the tools and do it in a weekend.
Sure, poorly. What you guys do is an art form. Look, you don't have to convince me of that. It's convincing the homeowners that it's been made a commodity to of that. Okay, I
Yes.
know the art form. I respect it, but I'm not the average everyday consumer at this point that's seen flooring made a commodity.
Yeah, and see, that's something related to what we were talking about, because a lot of people who have been in the industry for a long time, they can't put themselves in the customer's shoes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So then you end up not being successful, or not closing the jobs, or not closing the jobs that you want, or getting other customers just because of that. You know, selling a job is not necessarily convincing the customer to buy what you're selling. It's also to identify what they're trying to buy and be that,
Yeah.
you know. So everybody's trying to be a business owner now. Everybody's copying whoever they think is successful and going that route. And unfortunately, the true craft, you know, the true skill that's supposed to be taught and passed on kind of gets lost, and has a lot to suffer from that point of view too. Not just because we don't have young people and new people coming into the trades,
Mm-hmm.
not just because of that, you know.
No, I think that's the biggest thing is like I don't necessarily think there's a lack of installers. I think there's a lack of qualified installers, or at least qualified labor to do any of it. I think that's the
I
bigger
know,
problem. So
I know, and you know, like you said, we see, because of social media and because of the groups and all of those that we're both involved in, we see a lot of people having, you know, young ones coming into the trade.
mm-hmm.
The question is, what do you do with them? What kind of opportunities do you spend enough time? And Nate Kelly actually was preaching hard about this. You know, are you investing enough time in training them properly?
Yeah.
And you know all those threads on the groups where you got questions. Okay, I got a new guy. What do you guys start your new guys on? Big machine, edger, and all that? No, you have to start him by watching you and explaining
Mm-hmm.
and holding his hand to do each task that you want him to be good at, and offer as many opportunities as it takes, obviously, if they're, committed to properly understand what they're doing and why they're doing it that way, and why do you want them to do it this way and not the other way. That's the case with people coming from working for other people and then moving on to other companies that do it differently. So I think it's all about giving enough opportunities and teaching them the right way,
I agree. You gotta put the time into them. You can't.
Yep.
You can't. Well, I throw my guy in a room and let him go on his own, and then I go in and correct. But it's a look. I have him sweeping and installing vinyl plank. Like, I'm not doing the same thing you guys are doing. But I can go in and check a room and have him resweep it and give him a couple pointers on how to sweep it better, and then you can get better at that. And then I can have him go and install some vinyl plank. And honestly, to click floor together, you just have to. It's muscle memory. You just got to do it over and over again to get faster. So he just gets his own little tiny spaces to work in, and we go over it. And if I have a small enough project that I know is going to be able to be done in a day, he gets full reign, and I sit there. What I could get done in 3 hours, I will let him take 8 hours to do. And dude, trust me, I want to run home. I want to go see my family, hang out with my kids. But for as much as I want to do that, I've made a commitment to this young man that's 22. And I've told him, I will not only teach you the business, I will teach you the trade. So I've got to invest in him.
You're doing it right. You're doing it right. And that's the type of, opportunity that I'm talking about, not just letting him nail a couple of boards or cut a couple of pieces and, you've done it right. No, this is how you do it. No, explain, be patient, let him correct his mistakes, because, if he's going to do it perfect the first time, that's luck.
Yeah, I know exactly.
So.
Oh, all right. Dude, I love this conversation where it's going, but I do want to kind of hit on something, because I know you had some issues recently, and so we were kind of talking about subcontractors, and this goes with what's going on too. This goes with the business aspect of it and training people and bringing them up. So you had a subcontractor essentially copying your advertising methods on Instagram. And literally copying, like copy paste. And I don't know if there was also a matter of, I've seen other guys post about it, and it was, I don't know if this guy was doing it too, but taking jobs of the projects you subbed to him, taking pictures and then posting them as his own.
Yeah, those are two totally different stories, but it's a general idea. And again, there's been a lot of back and forth within the groups and the community. Who owns the rights to marketing a job? I think that's what the title of the conversation should be, not a certain picture or, something like that.
Well, he owns the rights to the picture if he took it. That's a legal thing, but who owns the rights to marketing is a very specific thing, and that's what matters here. Is okay.
Exactly. So, me as MSCS Inc., I sell the job to the client. There's a contract. In that contract, there may or may not be a certain paragraph that says that by signing this contract, you allow us, being MSCS Inc., to market our services using pictures of the work we provided you with.
Yeah.
Nothing clearer than this so far, right? So then, whoever goes into the house and does the work itself, whether it's me personally with my own two hands or people who represent me and only me, because that's why they're there, to represent me and my company, are doing the job, right? So pictures are taken by me and maybe by others. Who can market themselves with those pictures? That was the big discussion. And I want it to be clear. I'm not saying that my opinion is the right one. I'm just saying that my opinion is my opinion, and I'm going to act according to my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, and my dealings with who I'm dealing with. So if I own the company and I am marketing the company, so I am living off whatever the company produces.
Yep.
Okay. Gross income minus expenses, which include labor, overhead, cost of doing business, and all of that.
Yep.
Then my main priority is to protect the business and the, future of the business. So if I'm going to, let's say, do a project in a good area, maybe it's a special project, high profile, whatever, not your cookie cutter 2.25 oil-based or water-based natural.
Yeah.
That's going to be something that, I'm going to milk the hell out of in terms of marketing. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to post it to every single social media platform that I'm on. And I'm on most of them. I have small accounts there's huge accounts out there. I'm not going to say my accounts are big. They're nowhere close to big. But that's all I got. Right? So that's a good portion of how I get my business and that's a big part of the image of my company, if you will.
Yeah.
So if I go ahead and post pictures and I make a post with text, hashtags, everything that, I can do to market myself for their area, for that service. And then there's another post with obviously the same job, maybe different angles, with the same hashtags, with very similar copyright on it that describes the service and the job from a different account. Who posted it first? You know what I mean? Who gets to benefit from that? Who's right? So that was a discussion that I've had with several subs that I've been using, and it's been widely discussed on the groups. And there's pros and cons for,
Well,
yeah, if they did the work, how many boards did you install in that house? Why does that matter?
I don't think it does.
The name on the job is my company's. The check for the work was written to my company. So, I know of a case up north where something similar happened. It's a very sad situation. I'm not going to go into details about that. But the way I see it, unless it's something in writing, like a subcontractor agreement where it's detailed and specified, you are not to take pictures and to use them for your own marketing now or whatever time limit you want to put or you're allowed to put in. I think the least that needs to happen is a discussion.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're dealing with people with the same common sense as you, I think that discussion happens once and for good.
Yeah.
Mine happened several times. So I kind of had to make a choice, I can't stop you from taking pictures of the jobs that I am subbing out to you and marketing yourself with them. I can't stop you from taking the pictures. What I can do is not give you the opportunity anymore, correct? So if I'm not subbing any more jobs to you, there's not going to be any more conflict because you're definitely not taking pictures of the same jobs that I market.
Yeah.
So, and that's entirely my choice, correct?
Correct. And
okay.
I think you're 100% dead on. And I'll be honest. The only reason, not the only reason I wanted to start my own company anyways, but my plan to start my company was sped up very quickly because I was fired for doing exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
I
Shame on you. Shame on you, Kyle.
Correct. No, 100%. I've learned a lot about business, and I have changed as a person in the last 5 years that I've been doing flooring. Okay. And I have no problem admitting this mistake, because the last thing that I need is to sit here and run this podcast and have it come out from my ex coworker, who I very much admire and enjoy our friendship, saying, "Hey man, like, that's a load of shit. How do you talk about that and not admit it?" So
Yeah.
look, there's people that know the truth. I'm on good terms with my old boss now. Like, if I need to buy some flooring that I can't get from a distributor, I can call him up and he'll do it. But for a couple years, we didn't talk. I was taking pictures and I was advertising his jobs as mine, because I did the work, right? Like, that was my mentality at the time. I did the work. That's me. Whether I'm your employee or not, I'm going to take the picture and I'm going to advertise the work so that I can get work for me. And is that right? Yeah. Was there anything in place, like you said, a contract saying I couldn't do it? No. So it was kind of this gray area. But I think when it comes down to it and you look at the ethics of it, it was a very bad move. And hence I lost my job.
Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say you did that once, twice, 3 times, and then he sees or finds out about it, and then has a civil conversation with you and goes like, okay, these are my jobs. This is how I make a living by marketing myself. I have to ensure that by subbing out to you, I'm not actually creating competition for myself, not in the long, distant future, because you're doing it right now. So I'm not okay with you. Could you stop? What would you have done? Would you have stopped?
I was called in and I was asked about it, and I tried to immediately negotiate, just adding like through his company, and I didn't want to take him down. And I was being a selfish young person, because yes, even at 32 you can be young and stupid.
But
so I just got canned. From what you're presenting.
It takes a big character to admit it.
Well,
like you're doing right now.
Correct. Look, people change. So you learn ethics as you go. I think you took the much nicer approach and giving multiple opportunities. There is nothing to do but sit there and cut ties with them. And like you said, you did. You now no longer sub work to them. And I think that's very fair. If they don't want to change their ways after multiple discussions, let alone, I don't know that it requires multiple discussions. I didn't get multiple discussions. And while I was mad at the time, I now understand what it takes to run the business. And I didn't then. I thought it was easy. You just go and install the floors. I didn't know how hard it was to find the job and do everything. So I now have a better understanding, and giving them multiple opportunities, boy, that's like holding their hand on a walk through the park. I don't know that that's required.
It's not a black or white situation. It's a fine line. And I don't like to burn bridges like completely with anybody. I just don't, because in the end, when you think about your career as a whole thing, this is insignificant. Like a job here, a job there. It really is.
Yes.
So is it worth like totally burning a bridge? I don't think so.
No, but I think people can kind of learn a lesson, and maybe you cut them loose for a little bit, and then you bring them back.
I'm a big fan of lessons.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of lessons.
And so maybe you cut them loose for a little bit, and then you bring them back, and you offer them the contract that says you can sub work from me, but my jobs are my jobs. Those are my pictures. You can't take pictures on these projects. You need to get your own and do it. So, once again, it's a learning opportunity for everyone.
Yep. So, yeah, that's that. The other thing with the post on Instagram, right? So, again, my account is not big, but I'm getting over 20% of my jobs from Instagram.
That's impressive. That's very impressive.
And yeah, I will sponsor a post here and there. I'll throw $150 at it over 5 days for a target area or something like that. But nothing more than that as far as, paying for advertising.
Mm-hmm.
In any other, on any other avenue, like no billboards, no, paper or digital or any type of advertising. I just don't want to pay for advertising, period. So I did a project in a very nice area. It's an old house. It's a 100-year-old house. It was actually a small project. White oak floors, again, 100-year-old. They were sanded like 1,000,001 times. When I got to it, I sanded, and it was the last one that it would take. We were hitting nails left and right. So,
oh man,
seeing the condition of it, I recommended a hard wax oil as a finish system.
Okay.
Client agreed. I explained why. So, job came out nice, and I actually use Instagram as an archive. So probably all over 90% of my projects are in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a couple of months ago. So I posted about it. When a floor is averagely sanded too many times and there's only one sanding left, what do? So you apply blah blah blah. A couple of days ago, a week ago, I see a post from another contractor that's in Metro Atlanta. I look at it, you see pictures because you just scroll through, but the text caught my eye.
Mm-hmm.
And I take a better look, and it's actually a quote of exactly what I wrote on my post. all the way down to the hashtags about the area, about the style, about each and every single thing, including a couple of hashtags that I created. Like, I started those hashtags. Everything. So, at first it was super, super funny to me. Like, then I looked through their pictures, and again, my job was a white oak job.
Yeah.
And this guy had like a bunch of pictures, I don't know, 6 or 7 pictures in his post, obviously from multiple projects, some of those were actually red oak. And he uses exactly the same text that I put on my white oak post.
Yeah.
On those. And that was the point where I actually had to say something about it. I actually did not call them out, but I made a post about it. I'm flattered that you thought my post was that good that you had to copy it word for word. But while you might be able to trick whatever followers you've got and maybe a couple of clients when you go into their house, it actually proves that you have absolutely no idea about your own industry, about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sad because, for better or worse, right now, a lot of people, most of the people that I know are busy. They're working.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in my area, while I spend a lot of time on social media, I actually keep tabs on pretty much, I know my market well. So everybody's working. Everybody's posting pictures. Everybody's doing jobs.
Yeah.
So how limited does your, imagination, vocabulary have to be to actually have to go and quote word for word another post?
Well, you can take that perception of it, or you can look at it as mimicry, or copying is the sincerest form of flattery, right?
Yeah, I actually included that quote in my post.
So people realize you were doing something right.
Yeah, imitation is the sincere. Whatever. It escapes me right now.
Look, I know. But it's frustrating, I bet, because you worked hard to develop it. You invented some hashtags, you did the work on the job, and somebody comes along and they say, "Oh, look, hey, that's something fancy. It worked for him. Like, I'm just going to do that."
Yeah.
And then they don't even represent it properly. And so it's almost an insult because they can't even take the time to be bothered to find the proper pictures to represent it.
Exactly. So, it's funny on one hand, it's sad on another hand, it's saddening on yet another, because again, it's an industry that really, if you're dedicated and you're interested in, bettering yourself and bettering the product that you're offering, it really offers you a way to become your own thing. Yeah, you look left and right and you learn things that, are good and bad from other people. Do you have to go out and straight out copy? I don't think so.
No, I don't. I think you can be inspired. You're right.
I mean, let's be honest. Going from okay-ish, good, to awesome, to best, to whatever you want to call it, I'm by no stretch of the imagination best at anything. But that difference is made by the little details that you learn or see or steal from others. Little tips and tricks, all the things, all the details that you only learn from a lot of experience or talking or seeing it done by somebody with a lot of experience. Some things can't really be, you can't fake it till you make it. In a lot of perspectives, as far as our industry goes, it could fly for a little bit, but then it's gonna catch up with you.
Well, it's like what's it? Icarus, right? He flies too close to the sun, and his wax wings melt. It's the same thing.
Yep. So, that was the other.
So, besides, like you wrote a post about it. Did you comment to them? Did you private message them? You just left it alone?
No. So I did not on any public forum. I did not call them out. I did not tag them. I did not mention them by name.
Okay.
I just, it's beneath me. I didn't really want to start anything because it's pointless. It's really pointless. But I just put it out there as a, public service announcement, because it had to be addressed. Like, I can't just let it fly. Yeah. It is funny, but again, I had to say something.
Well, I mean, look, talking to a copyright lawyer, it would be interesting to see how the copyright on that lands, because you have copyright on the pictures, you technically have copyright on the text. So it would be interesting to at least consult with one. I'm not saying it would be worth it to like pursue anything, but I would be interested in what a copyright lawyer had to say on it. Because if it keeps happening over and over again, essentially they're stealing your marketing out from under you. And it's not that you can't market the same way as people. There's a lot of, it's a big gray area. It really is, because it's digital, and it's this, there's probably not been a lawsuit like that yet. And so it's kind of an interesting thing to think through and figure out how they would go.
Trust me, I'm definitely not going to be the first one, because I'm really not interested in, what would a lawyer say about that. I've got plenty of content that I can post that can't be copied. Actually, on my post after that, I started another hashtag, and can't say it because it includes the name, but copy this.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, you have unique content. So is it worth your time to pursue something frivolous, or is it better to just invest your time in generating more work?
So the best times for me, as far as business, were those times where I didn't look left or right. I just focused on what I have to do and the direction I want to go in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll just go there, do my thing to the point where I'm happy with what I'm leaving behind, and you know, that's all that matters. In the long run, that's what pays off. So
It makes sense to me. I mean, look, you got to know what your
everything else. Yeah, everything else is pretty much white noise at this point.
Okay.
I'm not competing. I'm really not competing. I've got some time in it now. I've got a reputation. I've got something to show for it too. There's always something to learn, but at this point, I'm really not trying to compete and, you know, pound my chest that I'm better than that guy or better than that guy. You know, we're all different.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as, you know, I can do my own thing and go in the direction I want to go in, you know, everything else just fades.
No, I'm with you. My good buddy Ken Ballin, a tile guy, is adamant that you can't have competition out there. We're all in the he's big on a rising tide lifts all ships. Okay, that's his thing.
Yes.
And so you've got to know who your competitors are, and it's not that they're necessarily competitors. You know, if you're booked on something, you can call one of them up and say, "Hey, man, I got this great gig. Like, do you have time to take it on for me?" And maybe they'll do the same for you. Maybe they can teach you something, whether it's business or like trade related.
Yeah.
Why sit there and focus on how to put somebody under instead of figuring out how the two of you can work together to better the market? Maybe you can get more share. Focus on. If you want to have a competitor, consider it the box stores.
Yeah.
And put them out because they're hurting everybody.
In a way, but the direction I said I want to go in, I'm trying to actually set myself apart as the go-to guy for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely things that carpet stores aren't able to do.
Yeah. No,
if
I think
they can try, but I guarantee you that they can try. They're gonna try once or twice, and then they're gonna be like, nah, you know.
Yeah.
So I think this whole philosophy, I heard it at it was an NWFA Expo. I think it was Fort Worth. And I was at a seminar from Avi. Avi was presenting it.
Okay.
And he said a couple of really nice things that stuck with me. And one of them was I can't exactly quote, one of them was along the lines of, if you get your skill level way, way up, then anything you do below that is really not going to be any stress. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But the higher the skill level is, the less competition there's going to be. So that further reduces your stress and your, you know, pain in doing business.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been trying to do, and that's what I'm working on constantly through, you know, education classes, networking with all the, you know, OGs, you know, they're on the groups. That's what I've been trying to do. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to ask a question if it's something that I don't know. I really don't think there's dumb questions.
Well, there is, really. But I get what you're saying. There really isn't. But sometimes you're just like, oh my gosh, really?
Up to a point. I mean,
yeah,
you know.
No, I know.
Can I use a garden rake to apply finish? Why am I getting lines? No, you know. It's probably that you didn't acclimate the finish. But if a question is posted, however dumb it might seem and sound, if it's posted in a public forum or a private group that has enough members, and somebody that just reads the post might have had the same question, now gets a reasonable answer that's going to help him not make a certain mistake down the road, then it's not a dumb question because somebody learned something.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I'm with you. And you got to stop. Everybody stop getting mad at somebody for asking what people are charging or how something works. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe they just joined and they're trying to learn. Okay. Take the time to answer their dumb question or the question you think is dumb and help them out. Okay. Because they didn't use the search function. Leave them alone. Just help them out. You were new and green at 1.2. All right. I'm off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
What search function?
The one nobody knows how to use.
No, but again, there's a lot of resources out there to improve, and most of them are free. But again, like we said at the beginning, you can take the horse to the water, but you actually have to want to improve. You have to understand that you're not the best. You're not. There's always room for improvement. So if you do that, the more you improve, the easier your job is going to be. You're probably going to learn to do it better, to do it faster, and at the same level of quality, which means becoming more efficient. So, even if it doesn't look like you gained something, like you took a huge leap forward business-wise or work-wise or whatever, little by little, it will start to make a difference.
Oh, yeah. Right? One plus one adds up, right? You 1 plus 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. Yep. Like you're going to get there eventually. I also think what you said, like micro niching.
Competition. Say what?
Go ahead.
It's the same thing with competition. Being in a competition, I'm not trying to hide what I do from my competitors. Like I post on Instagram, whether it's posts or on my stories, and I see who watches them and I see who sees them. The little things that I do, throughout the workday, and some of them might be like a total unknown as far as tools and materials and techniques and all that. And I know that's gonna probably get them at least interested, if not get them to try and discover that, okay, this can help me. This is better than the way I've been doing it, I get calls, I get messages, even from my competitors, asking about the same thing, products, materials, tools. I'm not hiding anything. Like, I will answer all those questions, I'm not afraid that now he knows what I know. Because I'm not, what I represent, like my business is made out of a lot of different things that all work together and brought me where I am. Just because you do one of the things that I do exactly how I do it doesn't put you on the same, position. Because I'm a sum of a lot of other things. And I think that's also important. You can't just be a one-trick pony. I know there's a couple of companies around here. Dude, they flood social media with all sorts of little movies, little, something that's eye-catching to potential clients. And they've got like a huge number of followers. But then whenever they post about actual jobs, it's subpar.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're a marketing genius. How far can that take you? How long does that fly?
Not long. It all comes crashing down when everyone starts complaining about your poor quality. So
yeah.
No, I'm right on board with you.
It's a sum of all those things.
Well, what's it going to hurt to have somebody else competing at a high level with you? Like I understand you don't have competition, but if somebody else is performing the same high level stuff and they're charging appropriately, you're only benefiting everybody.
Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm laid back and nobody has, what I have. No. There's quite a few in Atlanta that are at least as good as I am overall at everything.
Yeah.
From install, send, finish, sales, business, everything.
Correct.
At least there's probably some that are better, but I'm not worried about it.
No, why?
You know, because it's not a race. It's not like there's no finish line and somebody's got to make it there first. I don't see it like that.
No, I mean, it goes back to, okay, so we're going to bring on these apprentices and we're supposed to teach them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for the longest time, because not that there wasn't some good teachers the whole time, but they were not taught how to do it properly. These guys went out, they became hacks, and the market was lowered. Everyone wants to complain about the lowballer guys and the sub quality work and all of that. Okay, well, we need that just as much as we need the high end stuff.
I used to complain about that a lot.
But when you actually finally start understanding business, you realize you actually need that. Now, we don't need as much of it as we have, but if we like we said, if we invest in our guys and we bring them up properly, when they go out, they add to the pool of quality labor and they help bring up the industry as a whole, which pushes everybody up. So it goes both ways. You can't have high quality distinguished from low quality if you don't have any hacks.
Yep.
But you can't sit there and make everybody into a hack, because then it means absolutely nothing.
That's true. And then you're creating an imbalance. So, yeah, I think there has to be that healthy balance. Like, you can't be, this highly skilled guy in a pool of hacks. There is no such thing. Things are eventually going to balance out. One of them, the hacks, or a few of the hacks, are going to see what you're doing, and they're going to understand it just like you did. And they're going to get there. So there's always going to be a balance. And I think that's healthy.
Correct.
If anybody is in that position where, there's absolutely no competition for me, they actually get complacent. And it's always good to have multiple people on the same level, because that kind of keeps you on your toes, and you don't lose that motivation to better yourself and the products you offer and the services you offer, because all the way until the last day of your career, there's always going to be something to learn. So it's not like I know it all. I'm done. I'm there. There is no such thing. So.
Well, and I think it's important that you've said, like, you'll field calls from your competitors in your local area. You interact with those guys. You're not just trying to deal with the people in the online forums and participate with everybody high level and go to NWFA classes to continue to, like, one up yourself and get better at something. It's very important that you are involved with your local market and trying to better your local market. That's only going to do yourself a favor.
Yeah, again, I think there's enough work for everybody. There's room for everybody, I can't expect to be a one size fits all for flooring. Like, I have to get all the jobs. I'm the best choice for every job. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
There's jobs that I don't want to do. There's jobs that maybe I'm not capable of doing. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Well, that's a big statement right there. There's jobs that I'm not capable of doing, and yet you've been doing this for years.
Definitely. And the years are to a certain extent, they're irrelevant. All the jokes, inside jokes with, I've got 30 years of experience, right? Do you have 1 year of experience that you repeated 29 times, or you actually improved over the 30 years constantly?
Yep.
So no, I'm positive that there are jobs out there that I would probably screw up. I'm probably not capable of doing with the skill level that I have right now. Does that mean that I'm never gonna? Nope. I will get there.
That's just, it's such a mature attitude, though. I don't know that you're going to find, Well, you're
Well,
going to find a lot of guys with that attitude, but you're going to find a lot of guys with the opposite attitude. If I'm the best, I can do anything. I don't need to learn. And you've shut yourself down and stopped yourself from being able to progress the minute you have that attitude.
well, again, it might work for some. It might work for a lot of them for a while. But then there's going to probably be a rough, come back to reality.
Mm-hmm.
The longer you have that attitude and you're in your little world, in your cocoon that, you're the best, you're self-sufficient, you don't have to progress, you don't have to. The longer you're there, the harder it's going to be when, it all comes crashing.
Yeah.
So I think that balance is healthy. I think communication is healthy because you know where you stand, you know what you want to tweak, you know what you need to tweak. And there's absolutely no harm in helping others. I'm all for that. That's why I actually talked to some people, and I went to be an assistant instructor at NWFA schools.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have no problem. Actually, yeah, I'm happy to help. What I'm not a big fan of is sharing stuff that I learned the hard way with people who are actually gonna skip essential steps just to, use whatever they learn and, totally forgo the basics.
That's fair.
That I'm not a big fan of, and that I'm not gonna do.
No, that's fair. You gotta. I don't think that you have to experience the school of hard knocks to get to where I am, but you have to apply the rules the way they were written. If you're going to skip a step, you're not doing it correctly.
Yep.
Right? Like you can't, I mean, in sand and finish terms, you can't go from, 36, 50, 60. So you can't go 36 to 80. Like it's just not going to work. Okay. The scratch pattern isn't, unless you sit there on the 80 for like 4 hours trying to get the 36 out, like.
Currently, 80% of my market would disagree with that.
Well, that's fine because they can leave their scratches behind. But look, if you're allowed to skip one grit, if you skip two, you can't. Like that's the rule. It's written that way for a reason, and so it's the same thing with business. You can't. There's rules in place for a reason, and I think that's important to know and understand. I know. And we're on the same page. We're not disagreeing, but I like that you're able to throw your market under the bus. But I think anybody can do that.
Oh, did I? No, it's so the rules, like you said, the game it's always changing, but the big things kind of stay the same. Mm-hmm. You need to go through steps. Yes, if you have mentors, advisors, support to streamline a couple of them, more power to you. But to completely skip steps, like you're fresh off the boat, somebody puts a van in your hands and they put a super fancy planetary in front of you, you're gonna churn out perfect job after perfect job? I don't think so.
Probably not.
It might look like that for some, but the reality is that once you hit that wall, once you hit that first problem issue, you have no idea what to do and you're lost. So that's why I think the biggest lessons are learned from mistakes.
Oh, for sure.
I was at a certain school, not gonna name the brand. And they split us up in 2 panels, and there were 2 separate instructors. So I ended up on one panel with a very laid-back instructor. Like, I loved the guy. I love the other one too, but he was very strict. You know, like he was having you had a very diverse group of people who've been in the industry for like 15 years, like myself and some other guys.
Okay.
And you had people who never actually held a sander in their lives, you know, and the strict instructor was like making sure that everything is flawless on the panel. No, you have to look, you left a line, you left a stop. No, now you have to hand scrape the entire perimeter. Now you have to put a lamp over there, a lantern over there, and look, this is a mistake and that's a mistake, you know?
Okay.
And in the end, our panel looked like shit. Like we had people who never held a sander before again.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing the rough sanding. They were hitting the edges. They were stopping in the middle of the panel. You know, we had drum marks, we had cuts, we had lines, we had swirls, we had halos, we had rough scraping, we had everything. And in the end, there was a discussion like, you know, this is what a job should look like. And it was pointing to that perfect panel. I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to disagree. You're giving these people, like the ones who never did floors in their lives, you're giving them a false sense of security. They're going to go out into the real world on a job. They're going to make a mistake that was not made here, and they're not going to know what hit them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best way to teach somebody is to let them make the mistakes, again, preferably under supervision, and then explain, okay, this is what you did wrong. This is what happens when you do it wrong. This is how you do it right. Or this is how you fix it.
Yeah.
You know? So I think there's a lot more to learn from that. But if you put somebody in a position where, you know, they're skipping those mistakes, those steps, those opportunities to make the mistakes and to learn from the mistakes, I think that's the wrong way. So with the helping everybody no matter what, yeah, I won't do that. I won't give out the keys to the industry how somebody told it to me. I'm not gonna do that just for anybody, you know. Yeah, I need to know that what you are learning or whatever help I give is actually used in conjunction with what you are doing, what, you know, you are putting towards the quality of the job, not just take it for granted, you know.
I couldn't agree more. There's so much information out there. There's so many people willing to help educate you, whether it is trade or business wise, and you can ask for help, and people are willing to tell you whatever you want to know. But when they notice, when they first start to notice that you're just asking and not doing, you're going to get cut off really quick. So you got to walk the walk, you got to talk the talk, and if you're going to ask for help, you better start applying it and using it, because you're going to get cut off from any more information if you're not applying what you've already been given.
Exactly.
So that's actually the perfect thing here. So, Mike, I hate to do it, love our conversation. We're kind of at our time, but if somebody wants to reach out to you, are you willing? What contact information do you got for us? How can somebody reach out and say, Mike, I really want to know more about something?
So I'm probably equally responsive on any of my social media accounts. Instagram, it's MSCS Inc. Facebook, I'm mostly in the groups. On the personal page, I barely show up. And additionally, website is that's the email. refinishatlanta.com is another one of my websites. And my cell number, in case anybody wants to reach out, is 678-468-5882.
There you go. You got ways to reach out, folks. He's an open book. He's going to help you, but you got to walk the walk and talk the talk as you get the information. Mike, thank you for joining me. Thank you for imparting wisdom on everybody from your different experiences, how you have come and worked hard to get to where you're at. I definitely think you deserve what you have. American people, look, the American dream is alive. Mike is proof that if you go out and you bust your butt and you teach yourself some things along the way, you can grow a company. You can still do it. You don't have to go and be a corporate slave. I don't think anyone listening to the show wants that, but maybe. Look, so many good things. I truly appreciate it. And
it's been my pleasure, man.
Awesome.
It's been my pleasure. And again, I appreciate the opportunity, and
you're welcome.
Always a good conversation.
Thank you. All right. I look forward to doing it again, and I'll stay in touch.
All right. Thanks, man.
No problem.
Have a good night.
You too. That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember to learn while you earn.